Do you think you can mess with me? Brad growled, clenching his fists until his knuckles cracked. You believe your quiet tactics will work here in Lincoln High? Emily slowly lifted her head, and something in her eyes made the crowd hold its breath. The cold gleam that appeared in her gaze was far from fear. I'm not playing, Brad said. Her voice was surprisingly calm. I was just hoping you wouldn't force me to show who I really am. And who might you be? He sneered, unaware that in 5 minutes he would be lying on the ground, and the entire school would be talking about only one thing. The most exciting part is yet to come. Stay with us to find out how it all ended. Meanwhile, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. Everything began on a Monday morning at Lincoln High School in the small town of Wood, Ohio. The fog had not yet lifted when 16-year-old Emily Harris stepped through the doors of her new school. Her family had just moved from Detroit after her mother took a job at the local hospital. This was already Emily's fourth move in the past 3 years. On the outside, there was nothing remarkable about her. She was of average height with a slim figure, her chestnut hair tied back in a simple ponytail, wearing ordinary jeans and a plain sweatshirt. She tried to blend into the crowd, avoid drawing attention, speak quietly when teachers addressed her. But what nobody knew could have shocked everyone in that school. Emily was the reigning junior mixed martial arts champion of the state of Michigan. 4 years of relentless training at one of Detroit's top gyms shaped her into a fierce competitor, even against adult fighters. Her signature left-hand strike could break a rib, while her ground fighting skills impressed coaches immensely. However, following her mother's wishes, they agreed to keep her abilities under wraps in their new town. Let's start fresh, sweetheart, her mother insisted. You know how people react when they hear about your talents. Let's just be a normal family. Emily agreed outwardly, though a part of her resisted the idea. In Detroit, she was respected precisely because she never let anyone push her around. But here in Maple, she was simply the new girl. Trouble found her on the very first day. During lunch, Emily sat alone at a corner table in the cafeteria when a tall, broad-shouldered boy with a short haircut and a defiant glare approached. 2 friends followed him. One short and wiry with perpetually narrowed eyes, the other taller, sporting a sly face and a cheeky grin. Hey, new girl, the leader announced loudly as he plopped down opposite her. I'm Brad Thompson. This is my school, my rules, and these are my buddies Kyle and Jake. Emily looked up from her sandwich. Nice to meet you, I'm Emily. Brad extended his hand, testing her name on his tongue. Where are you from? Detroit. Kyle chuckled. Detroit? So you're from the big city. Think you're better than us? I don't think so, he added with a smirk. Emily replied quietly while continuing to eat. Brad leaned toward her and asked, What do you think I'm thinking? You see, baby, we have a simple rule here. Newcomers must show respect, especially those who came from big cities and believe they are better than everyone else. A tight knot formed inside Emily. That tone, that arrogance, everything felt painfully familiar, but she had promised her mother. I do not want to bother anyone, she said, preparing to stand up. Where are you going? Jake placed his hand on her shoulder, preventing her from getting up. The conversation is not over yet. So, what exactly do you want? Steel entered Emily's voice, but the guys did not notice. Just respect, Brad smirked. Let's say $5 a day for protection. You get it. In a new school, anything might happen to a lone girl. Slowly, Emily scanned their faces. Brad's eyes revealed the confidence of a predator who knows the victim cannot fight back. Kyle grinned, anticipating some fun. Jake was simply waiting for her to break down. I need to think, she finally said. Of course, Brad generously permitted. You have until tomorrow. He leaned in closer, his breath burning her cheek. Do not even think about complaining. Teachers adore us here. My father sponsors the school football team. After they left, Emily stayed seated for a few more minutes, clenching her fists beneath the table. She could end it all right now. One precise strike and Brad would spend the rest of the day in the infirmary. But the promise made to her mother held her back. After school, she walked home, reflecting on the situation. $5 a day amounts to $150 a month. Over the course of the school year, it would exceed 1,000. And this was only the beginning. She knew people like Brad well. If she showed any weakness now, things would only get worse later. At home, her mother was already preparing dinner. Dr. Sarah Harris appeared tired after her first day at the new job, but still managed to smile at her daughter. "How was school today, dear?" Sarah asked. "Fine," Emily lied. "A typical first day. Made any friends yet?" "Too soon to tell," Emily replied. Her mother studied her carefully. Over the years, they had learned to understand each other without many words. Now Sarah sensed something was wrong. "If any problems come up, it's okay, Mom," Emily reassured. That night, Emily couldn't fall asleep. She lay staring at the ceiling, recalling Brad's face, his confident grin, brazen stare, the tone of his voice. In Detroit, she would have handled this already. Everyone knew not to mess with Emily Harris there, but here she was, just a newcomer, quiet and unnoticed, someone who preferred to avoid trouble. On Tuesday morning, the tension escalated. Emily had just entered the school building when Brad and his friends intercepted her by the stairs. "Well, what do you think?" he asked bluntly. "I am not going to pay you," Emily stated firmly. The smile faded from Brad's face. "What did you say?" "I said no." For several seconds, they stared at each other. Then Brad laughed, but his laughter was cold and unpleasant. "You know, baby, I was hoping you'd be smart." One day he said, "You want to act like a heroine," then shrugged his shoulders. "All right, let's play along." What happened next turned into a true nightmare for Emily. Brad and his friends seemed to have declared war on her. During every break, they found a way to make her life miserable. In the first chemistry class, Kyle accidentally pushed her, scattering all her notes onto the floor. As she tried to gather them, he stepped on her notebook with his dirty boot. "Oops," he smirked. "Sorry." At the second break, Jake slammed into her in the hallway so hard that she hit her shoulder against the wall. The pain was sharp, but Emily just clenched her teeth. "Watch where you're going," he snapped as he walked away. The situation reached its peak in the cafeteria during lunch. Emily was sitting at the same table as the day before when Brad approached her again. This time, he was not alone. Half of the football team was with him. "Heard we've got a newcomer who refuses to follow our traditions," he announced loudly so everyone nearby could hear. "Thinks she's too good for our rules." Conversation at neighboring tables died down and all eyes turned to watch. "Brad, please," Emily whispered quietly. "I just want to study peacefully," she said. He leaned close and said, "I just want you to understand your place. You see, when someone ignores my requests, it ruins my reputation." He grabbed her plate of food and slowly tipped it over her lap. Hot soup spilled onto her jeans, while pieces of vegetables fell to the floor. "Wow," Brad pretended to be upset. "What a mess." Awkwardness filled the air as the cafeteria erupted in laughter. Someone even started recording the moment on their phone. Emily remained frozen, feeling the hot soup seeping through her clothes. Inside her, a storm of fury was building. Cold, controlled, yet no less dangerous. "Why are you just sitting there?" Brad kept taunting. "Clean up your mess." Slowly, Emily stood up. The soup dripped from her jeans, leaving wet stains on the floor. The laughter continued around her, but she paid no attention. Her gaze was fixed solely on Brad. "You have made a huge mistake," she said quietly, but her voice cut through the noise like a sharp knife. "What are you going to do about it?" He laughed. "Throw a fit to the principal? Call your mommy?" Emily said nothing. She simply grabbed her backpack and left the cafeteria behind, leaving a trail of soup puddles and bursts of laughter. In the restroom, she tried to wash off the stains, but it was futile. Her hands trembled, not from fear, but from barely controlled rage. 4 years of training had taught her to manage aggression, to channel it wisely. Yet at this moment, that control was hard to maintain. She took out her phone and dialed the number of her former coach in Detroit. Master Johnson, this is Emily Harris. Emily, how is the new school? Not great. I am having trouble with the local bullies. Silence filled the line for a moment. Master Johnson had known Emily since she first entered the dojo, a skinny 12-year-old girl wanting to learn how to defend herself after being attacked by high school students. What exactly is going on? Emily gave a brief overview of the situation. When she finished, the coach sighed. Listen carefully, girl. I understand your mother asked you to keep your skills hidden, and that is wise. However, there are times when secrecy becomes a threat. She asked, "What do you mean?" He explained, "If you continue to endure this, they will only grow more aggressive. People like that, Brad, only respond to strength. But remember, if you decide to act, do it wisely, not at school, not where others can see, and avoid causing serious harm." "I remember your lessons," she said. "Good. And Emily, no matter what happens, protect yourself. This is your right." Emily spent the rest of the day lost in thought. By the time classes ended, she had made her decision. She would no longer tolerate this. After school, she stayed at the library, pretending to work on homework. In reality, she waited until most students had left. She needed to speak to Brad alone. Around 4 o'clock, she left the building. The parking lot was almost empty, with only a few teachers and upperclassmen's cars. She knew Brad usually stayed late because of football practice. Emily walked toward the sports building and peeked inside the gym. The practice had ended. Players were heading to the locker rooms. She waited another half hour until she saw Brad exit the building alone. Apparently, his friends had already gone. "Brad," she called. He turned and smirked when he saw her. "Oh, look who's here. The soup girl is back." Emily stepped closer. They found themselves alone in an empty parking lot. "I need to talk to you." "About what?" Brad crossed his arms over his chest. Even by himself, he felt confident. After all, what could a skinny girl possibly do to him? "About what happened today in the cafeteria." "What is wrong with you? I thought it was pretty funny. For you, maybe, but not for me." Brad took a step forward, looming over her. Standing nearly 6 feet 3 inches tall, he towered almost a full head above Emily. "Listen here, little girl. I was trying to be polite, suggesting a simple solution. Pay up and live peacefully. But you decided to play the heroine. Now it will have to be done the hard way." "The hard way? Tomorrow the whole school will know the new girl from Detroit is a total loser. I will tell everyone how you sat in a puddle of your own soup and could do nothing about it. I will post the photo on social media. I think the soup lady will drop by." Something changed in Emily's eyes. Brad noticed it but misunderstood it. "Oh, scared now? Too late, baby. You should have thought earlier." "You know, Brad," said Emily in an oddly calm voice, "I have a proposal." "What proposal?" "You are not in a position to offer anything right now. One-on-one. Right here, right now. If you win, I will pay you not $5 a day but 10, and I will do whatever you say." Brad raised his eyebrows in surprise. "And if you win? You leave me alone forever and apologize to the entire school." For what happened today, Brad burst out laughing. "Are you serious? You want to fight me? I want to end this once and for all. Girl, I have been playing football since I was 10. I am coached by a former NFL player. I bench press 140 kilograms and you." He shot her a disdainful look. "You look like the wind could blow you away. Then you have nothing to fear." There was something in her tone that made Brad look at her more closely. Emily stood completely calm, her arms hanging loosely by her sides, yet there was a confidence in her posture he had never noticed before. "Okay," he finally said, "but no rules. Anything goes agreed." They moved to the middle of the parking lot. The asphalt was clean, and there were no cars around. The perfect place for a fight. Brad took off his sweatshirt, revealing his muscular body. Years of gym training had paid off: broad shoulders, a developed chest, strong arms. He knew he looked impressive. Emily just took off her jacket, left wearing a simple t-shirt. Next to Brad, she seemed even more fragile. "Last chance to back out," he offered with a grin. Thanks, but no, your death notice. Brad did not hesitate. He charged forward, intending to knock Emily down with the first blow. His fist flew straight to her face with such force it could have broken a nose. What happened next completely changed his perception of reality. Emily did not even try to dodge. Instead, she stepped slightly to the left, allowing the punch to miss. Raising her right arm simultaneously, she blocked the attack just before the shoulder. The movement was so swift and precise that Brad did not have time to realize what was happening. Then Emily launched a counterattack. Her left arm shot forward like a piston, aiming directly at the solar plexus. The strike was brief, yet incredibly powerful. 4 years of training, thousands of hours perfecting technique, and all her hidden strength were focused in this single motion. Emily's fist crashed into Brad's chest right below the sternum. The guy doubled over, gasping for air. His diaphragm spasmed, and his lungs refused to cooperate. He tried to inhale, but failed. Panicked attempts to breathe made him drop to his knees. "What? How?" he croaked, still unable to grasp what had just happened. Emily stood calmly above him without any signs of fatigue or hesitance in her movements. "The first rule of fighting," she said quietly. "Never underestimate your opponent." Brad tried to rise, but his legs would not obey. The strike to the solar plexus had been delivered with surgical precision, powerful enough to paralyze but not to cause serious harm. "Are you into boxing?" He managed to breathe out. "Not boxing." Emily squatted down next to him to bring their faces level. "Mixed martial arts, 4 years of intense training, champion of Michigan and juniors, 23 fights, 21 victories." Brad's eyes widened in horror. "But you know what is the most interesting thing?" Emily continued. "I have not even used a fraction of my true potential," she said. "That strike, if delivered with full force, would have shattered your ribs and reached your spine." She stood up and stepped back a few paces. "I moved here hoping to start a normal life, tired of everyone being afraid of me. My mother begged me to hide my abilities, and I agreed. I just wanted to be an ordinary girl." Brad finally managed to breathe steadily and slowly got to his feet. He clutched his stomach and looked at Emily with completely different eyes. "But you never gave me that chance." Emily's voice turned colder. "You thought I was an easy target. You were wrong." "Listen, I did not know," Brad started. "Of course you did not know, and now you have a choice." Emily moved closer to him. Despite the height difference, Brad suddenly felt small and vulnerable. "You either follow the terms of our agreement, leave me alone, and apologize to the school," or she shrugged. "Tomorrow I will show everyone what I am truly capable of. In front of witnesses, with video evidence. What do you think your football teammates will say when they learn their captain was taken down by a girl half a head shorter in just 30 seconds? Brad realized he was trapped. His reputation, his standing at school, everything he valued was on the line. "Fine," he said hoarsely. "Fine, I agree. Smart boy." Emily grabbed her jacket and headed toward the parking lot exit. "And one more thing, Brad." She turned back. "If you or your friends dare even glance at me or if anyone else at this school finds out about this, our conversation will be completely different." She left, leaving Brad all alone in the empty parking lot. The young man stood there clutching his stomach, unable to believe what had just happened. Just half an hour ago, he had been the king of the school, but now, the next morning, everyone was shocked. Brad Thompson, the terror of the younger students and the undeniable authority among the upperclassmen, approached Emily right in the hallway in front of everyone and loudly apologized for the incident yesterday in the cafeteria. "I'm sorry, Emily," he said, and there was not a trace of sarcasm in his voice. "What I did yesterday was wrong. I was a complete fool." The students stood open-mouthed. No one could believe what they were witnessing. Brad Thompson apologizes to the newcomer. "Thank you, Brad," Emily calmly replied. "Accepted." From that day on, the atmosphere at school changed dramatically. Brad and his friends not only left Emily alone, they seemed to become her invisible protectors. When any of the younger students tried to bully others, a single glance from Brad was enough to make the troublemaker back off. But the most astonishing thing happened a week later. A group of girls led by Jessica Martin, one of the most popular students at the school, approached Emily. "Emily," Jessica began nervously, "we heard, well, the rumors say you really know how to fight. Why do you ask? The thing is, we have a problem. There are boys from another school who keep bothering us after classes. Teachers are powerless to act. This does not occur on school grounds, and we cannot share this with parents. They would simply forbid us from going outside." Emily looked closely at the girls. Their eyes reflected fear and despair. "Tell me everything," she asked. It turned out that a group of high school seniors from the neighboring Westside School regularly waited for the girls from Lincoln High near the bus stop. They did not cause physical harm, but their harassment grew increasingly brazen. Yesterday, one of them tried to grab Jessica's arm, and when she pulled free, he threatened, "Next time you won't get away." "How many of them are there?" Emily inquired. "5. All are healthy young men around 17 or 18 years old. And you? There are 4 of us. We usually walk together." Emily pondered. 5 against 1 did not offer the best odds, even for her. Yet the girls needed assistance, and neither teachers nor parents could do much in such a situation. "All right," she finally said. "After school today, proceed as usual. I will be nearby." "And what will you do?" "We will see, depending on how things unfold." At 3:45, Emily took her place at the bus stop. She sat on the bench, pretending to read a book while vigilantly observing the surroundings. Jessica and her friends appeared a few minutes later and stood a bit apart, exchanging nervous glances. The boys from Westside arrived exactly on schedule. 5 fit teenagers dressed in sportswear with cocky expressions and reckless behavior. Their leader, a tall blonde with a neck tattoo, immediately caught attention. He walked over to the girls. "Oh, look who we have here," he announced loudly. "Our beloved princesses from Lincoln." "Leave us alone, Travis." Jessica tried to sound brave. "Are we bothering you?" "We are just talking," Travis smirked. "By the way, you ran away too fast yesterday. I did not get the chance to properly introduce myself." He reached out towards Jessica's face, clearly intending to touch her cheek. The girl pulled back, but one of his friends stood behind her, blocking any escape. "Don't be scared, beautiful. I do not bite." At that moment, Emily stepped in. "Excuse me," she said, approaching the group. "Could you please move? The bus will arrive soon and you are blocking the way." Travis turned and threw her a contemptuous look. "And who might you be?" "I study at Lincoln, and these girls are my friends." "I see," he chuckled. "Well, get out of here while my friends and I are talking. I am afraid that will not happen. You see, they do not want to talk to you." Travis took a step toward Emily. Standing nearly 2 meters tall, he made her look tiny beside him. "Listen, little one, do not meddle in things that are not your concern, or you will get what you deserve." "What exactly will I get?" Emily asked calmly. The other guys burst into laughter. They clearly found it amusing that such a fragile girl was unafraid of their leader. "You know what?" Travis turned to his friends. "I like this little one. She has spirit. Perhaps we should take her with us." One of the guys, a stocky brunette with gold teeth, approached Emily from behind. "Good idea, Treff. It has been a while since we had a fresh face around." He made an attempt to grab Emily by the shoulders. That was his mistake. Emily did not even turn around. She quickly jerked her left elbow back, aiming directly at the attacker's solar plexus. The strike was brief but powerful. The guy doubled over, gasping for breath, and dropped to his knees. "What the?" Travis began, but he did not finish his sentence. Emily faced him, and something in her eyes made him fall silent. It was a predator's gaze, cold, calculating, and utterly fearless. "You have 2 minutes to get out of here," she said quietly. "This is your only warning." Travis could not believe what was happening. Some girl about 1 meter 60 threatens him and his friends. "Are you completely insane?" he snapped. "I could take you down with one hand." He did not finish. Emily moved so fast he did not have time to react. One moment, she was 2 meters away. The next, her fist smashed into his liver with such force that Travis felt his insides twist into a knot. He bent forward, gasping, and immediately received a knee to the face. His nasal cartilage cracked. Blood flowed from his nostrils. Travis fell on his back, trying not to lose consciousness. The entire attack took no more than 10 seconds. The other 3 guys stood frozen in shock. Their leader, whom they saw as invincible, lay on the asphalt in a pool of his own blood. "Who is next?" Emily asked, turning to them. No one moved. They had witnessed what happened to Travis and understood. This girl is not joking. A wise choice, Emily nodded. Now take your friend and leave. If I see any of you near the girls from our school again, the conversation will be very different. The boys helped Travis, who was still in pain, to his feet and quickly walked away. The one Emily hit first remained kneeling, clutching his stomach. "You too," Emily told him. "Get lost." Once the bullies disappeared from sight, Jessica and her friends approached Emily. Their eyes showed admiration and gratitude. "Incredible," Jessica breathed out. "How do you do that?" "Long story," Emily shrugged. "The important thing is they will not bother you anymore. What if they come back? They will not. People like Travis only understand force. Today, he received a lesson he will remember for a long time." Just then, the bus arrived at the stop. The girls got on, still talking about what had happened. Emily stayed behind to wait for the next bus. When she finally got home, her mother was already preparing dinner. "How's school?" Sarah asked as usual. "Better," Emily replied. "Much better." Her mother studied her carefully. Something had changed in her over the past days. Emily seemed more confident and calm. The tension that had shown in her every move since the first day at the new school was gone. "Did you make friends with your classmates?" "Yes, apparently there are quite good kids here. I'm glad to hear that." Emily went up to her room. She sat at her desk and opened her textbook, but her thoughts were far from homework. Today's events stayed on her mind. Her life was completely transformed by the new school. There was no longer any need to hide or pretend to be weak and defenseless. At last, she could truly be herself. The next day, everyone at school was aware of the incident at the bus stop. The story grew with every retelling, adding details, yet keeping the core the same. The newcomer from Detroit had taken down 5 high school seniors from West Side. Students from various classes approached Emily. Some just wanted to meet her, while others sought advice on how to stand up for themselves. Girls even asked if she could lead a few self-defense lessons. Naturally, she agreed. Emily said, "I think this will be very helpful." She arranged with the wrestling team coach to use the gym after school. Within 1 week, she had a group of 20 people. Mostly girls, but a few boys as well. Emily taught them the fundamentals of self-defense. How to position their hands correctly, where to aim when attacking, and how to break free from grabs. She emphasized that strength was not as important as technique and the ability to control the situation. "Remember," she told her students, "the best fight is the one you manage to avoid." Yet if a fight could not be avoided, strike first, strike hard, and finish it quickly. These classes became popular not only among students but teachers too. The school principal, Mr. Anderson, even suggested incorporating the self-defense course into the official physical education curriculum. "Emily," he said, calling her into his office, "what you are doing is truly significant. Nowadays, children must learn to protect themselves." "Thank you, Mr. Anderson. I spoke with your mother. She shared stories about your accomplishments in Detroit. Why did you hide your abilities?" Emily paused thoughtfully. "I believed it would be easier this way, that I could live a normal life." "And how is it working out for you? Do you know what I have realized? Concealing who you really are is not living. It is merely existing. Real life begins when you stop fearing to be yourself." The principal smiled warmly. Wise words for a 16-year-old girl. I had to mature quickly. About 1 month after the incident with the boys from West Side, another event happened, which solidified Emily's reputation at school. Representatives from a major mixed martial arts federation had arrived in the city to hold exhibition matches and scout talented young fighters. The event took place at the local sports center, attracting many students from Lincoln High to watch. Emily had not intended to participate. She came as a spectator with Jessica and other friends. However, when the organizers announced an open ring for all who wanted to compete, the crowd of students started chanting her name. Emily, Emily, Emily. Mike Rotner, a Federation representative and former professional fighter, noticed the commotion. "What is going on there?" he asked. "The kids want one of the students to step into the ring," an organizer explained. "They say she is the state champion. I wonder how old she is." 16, came the reply. Brad frowned. "Too young for a serious fight. But we can arrange a demonstration sparring match with one of our girls." He approached the group of students. "Where is your champion?" Jessica nudged Emily forward. "There she is." Brad cast an evaluating glance at Emily. The petite, slender girl in jeans and a simple t-shirt hardly resembled a fighter. "Are you really the state champion?" "In Michigan," Emily confirmed. "What weight class?" 57 kilograms. "All right, we have a girl about your weight. Want to do a light sparring session with no head strikes wearing protective gear?" Emily looked at her classmates. Their eyes showed excitement and anticipation. They believed in her, and she could not let them down. Within a few minutes, Emily stood at the center of the ring wearing a protective helmet and gloves. Her opponent was 20-year-old Kelly Rouse, a rookie professional athlete with experience in 4 amateur fights. "Don't worry, kid," Kelly said during the warm-up. "It's just a demonstration spar." Emily only nodded. She felt at home. The smell of sweat and leather, the bright spotlights, the noise of the crowd. All of this had been familiar since childhood. The referee gave the signal to start. Kelly began cautiously, studying her opponent. She threw a few light jabs, testing Emily's reactions. Emily calmly dodged or blocked the punches, taking her time before counterattacking. Not bad defense, Kelly thought, and decided to increase the intensity. She launched into a combination. The sequence included 3 strikes: a left jab, a right cross, and a kick to the body. The technique was flawless, and the speed was impressive. But Emily was prepared for this. She dodged the first 2 punches, caught the leg in a hold, and executed a sweep. Kelly lost her balance and fell onto her back. Emily immediately followed, taking the fight to the ground. On the mat, Kelly was strong, yet Emily proved stronger. With a few swift transitions, she gained control, trapping her opponent in a chokehold. Kelly struggled to break free, but the grip was applied skillfully and with the right amount of pressure. She had no choice but to tap the mat, signaling surrender. The gym exploded with applause. Lincoln High students shouted and whistled, unable to believe their eyes. Their classmate had just defeated a professional athlete. Mike Rotner approached the ring with a surprised look. "Where did you train?" he asked Emily. "In Detroit, at Master Johnson's gym." "Johnson? I know him. Great coach." Rotner paused thoughtfully. "Listen, would you want to pursue a serious career? You have everything it takes for major success." Emily glanced at her classmates, their faces full of admiration, and at her mother, standing in the crowd with a proud smile. "Thank you for the offer," she said. "But for now, I just want to be a student. I have more important things to focus on here." After that impressive performance, Emily's fame spread far beyond the school. She was featured in the local newspaper and on television. The story appeared on local television. However, for Emily, this was not the most important thing. What truly mattered was that she had finally discovered her place in life. She was no longer just the newcomer trying to fit in with the group. She grew into a leader whom others looked up to. More than 100 people were attending her self-defense classes. The girls in her sessions became more confident, and the boys started treating her with genuine respect. Even Brad Thompson changed. He stopped being the school bully and began helping younger students. One day, he approached Emily after class. "You know, he said hesitantly. I wanted to thank you. For what? Emily asked. For standing up to me back then. I was a real jerk. If you hadn't put me in my place, I could have gotten even worse. Emily smiled. We all make mistakes, Brad. The key is to learn from them. I am learning, and if you ever need help, you can count on me. This was a turning point not only for Brad, but for the whole school. The atmosphere changed dramatically. Bullying vanished, and the harassment of newcomers stopped. Students began supporting one another instead of seeking out the vulnerable. Yet the real test of strength was still ahead. Early in November, shocking news reached the school. Travis Miller, the very troublemaker Emily had confronted at the bus stop, was arrested for assaulting a schoolgirl from another district. This time, he had crossed the line and now faced the real possibility of prison. However, Travis came from an influential family. His father, a wealthy entrepreneur, hired the finest lawyers and started looking for ways to clear his son of the charges. One strategy was to accuse Emily of provoking the October incident. 3 months after Travis's arrest, his attorneys filed a countersuit. They claimed that it was Emily's attack on their client that had triggered his subsequent aggressive behavior. They demanded that she be held responsible as an accomplice. The case attracted widespread attention. Local media divided into 2 camps. Some supported Emily, calling her a heroine, while others condemned her for excessive cruelty. Can a 16-year-old girl really be so dangerous? Wrote one newspaper. Self-defense or assault? Where is the line? This was the question posed by a television channel. Emily found herself at the heart of the controversy. For several days, reporters visited their home, but the excitement soon died down. Her mother was worried but stayed strong. Maybe we should leave, Sarah suggested one evening. Start fresh somewhere else? No, Emily said firmly. I am not going anywhere. I did nothing wrong. But this trial will reveal the truth, and the truth is on our side. The court hearing was scheduled for 2 months later. Travis's lawyers tried to portray Emily as an aggressive girl with mental issues, using her skills to attack innocent people. However, they failed to consider one thing. Emily had witnesses. On the day of the trial, the courtroom was filled to capacity. People arrived. Students from Lincoln High, teachers, and parents. Jessica and her friends sat in the front row showing their support. Travis's lawyer began with a heartfelt speech about how his underage client had fallen victim to uncontrollable aggression. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, he said, this case centers on how a typical teenage encounter escalated into a violent assault. My client was simply trying to meet the girls, something all boys his age do. However, the opposing counsel interrupted. Emily. Mr. Miller is not the defendant in this trial. Noted. Please continue, but watch your wording, the judge instructed. Travis's lawyer pressed on, aiming to portray his client as an innocent victim. When the witness testimony started, the situation became clearer. The first to take the stand was Jessica Martin. Please tell the court what happened that day at the bus stop, Prosecutor Travis requested. Jessica, with a shaky voice, explained, Miller and his friends had been harassing us for weeks. They said inappropriate things and tried to touch us. That day, Travis tried to grab my face, and when I pulled away, his friend stood behind me to block my escape. And what happened next? That's when Emily stepped in. She asked them to leave us alone, but they began threatening her instead. Who attacked first? The prosecutor asked. One of Travis's friends tried to grab Emily from behind. She defended herself. Travis's lawyer Attempts were made to undermine Jessica's testimony, yet she remained resolute. Following her, other witnesses spoke up, including the remaining girls and several random bystanders who had seen the incident. All their accounts aligned perfectly. Emily acted out of self-defense and to protect others. But the most impactful moment came when Emily herself addressed the court. Miss Harris, the prosecutor said, please tell the court about your athletic background. Emily stood, straightened her shoulders, and began to speak confidently. She shared how she had started practicing martial arts after becoming a target of bullying at school, describing years of training, her victories in competitions, and how sports taught her not only how to fight, but also to control her anger. My coach always told me, she continued, true strength is not about being able to inflict pain, but about knowing when to stop. That day at the bus stop, I could have seriously injured those boys, but I used only the minimum force needed to stop them. When asked how she felt at that moment, Emily replied she felt responsible for the girls they were trying to harm, for herself, and for showing those boys that their behavior was unacceptable. Travis's lawyer attempted a harsh cross-examination, but Emily responded calmly and truthfully to every question. She did not try to excuse or downplay what had happened. Do you admit to striking my client? Yes, I admit it. And was that a strong hit? It was strong enough to stop him. Have you ever considered that you might seriously injure someone? I had complete control over the force of my strike. My coach taught me how to adjust the impact depending on the circumstances. But could you not have simply run away? Emily cast a long, steady look at the lawyer. What were those girls supposed to do? Run away too? Until when? Someone had to stop your clients, and I was the one who did it. The courtroom erupted in applause, yet the judge quickly called for order. The closing statements were merely procedural. The prosecutor convincingly proved that Emily acted within the bounds of self-defense laws. The jury retired for deliberation, taking only 20 minutes before reaching a unanimous verdict. Not guilty on all charges. When the judge announced the decision, the room burst into cheers. Emily embraced her mother, who was crying with relief and pride. "Thank you for believing in me," Emily said to her classmates who had stood by her throughout. "We always believed in you," Jessica replied. "You taught us the most important lesson, not to be afraid to be strong." After the trial, life began to return to normal. The media lost interest in the case and reporters stopped crowding their home. Yet the changes brought about by Emily remained. Her self-defense classes became an official part of the school curriculum. The administration allocated a dedicated room and equipment. Professional instructors joined the program, but Emily Thompson remained the head trainer. She taught not only fighting techniques, but also the psychology of self-protection, helping students recognize dangerous situations. The situation was about avoiding conflict and helping others without putting oneself in danger. She told her students, "Strength does not only come from physical skills. True strength is self-confidence, the ability to stand up for what is right, and the willingness to protect the vulnerable." Her words resonated not only with the pupils, but also with adults. Parents of the students, teachers, and city residents began attending the courses. Emily became a symbol that even an ordinary person could make a difference in the world around them. However, the most significant change happened within herself. Emily no longer tried to hide her true nature. She realized that accepting oneself was the first step towards making the world a better place. One evening, returning home after another practice session, a stranger approached her. Emily immediately tensed, ready to defend herself. "Emily Harris?" he asked. "Yes," she replied. "My name is Dan White. I am the father of one of the girls you saved from those bullies." Emily relaxed. "Ah, I see. How is your daughter?" she inquired. "She's doing great. And do you know why? Because she now attends your classes. She has become a completely different person, confident, strong, and prepared to stand up for herself." The man paused, searching for words. "I wanted to thank you not only for protecting my daughter that day, but also for teaching her to defend herself. That is the most valuable gift you can give a child." "No thanks needed," answered Emily. "I am simply doing what I believe is right." You know what? Exactly. That is why the world improves thanks to people like you. When Emily arrived home, her mother was already asleep. She quietly went to her room and sat by the window, gazing at the starry sky. A year ago, she had been just a frightened girl who moved to a new town and wished to go unnoticed. Today, she was a leader, a guide, a protector, someone she was always meant to become. The road to this was far from easy. She had to confront prejudice, overcome fears, and endure a public scandal. Yet each challenge only made her stronger. Emily discovered an essential truth. You cannot hide from your true calling. You might try to be someone else or conform to others' expectations, but eventually the real nature will reveal itself. And when that happens, you must be ready to accept responsibility for your power. The next day at school, a surprise awaited her. Principal Mr. Anderson called her to his office, where members of the city council, parent committee, and local media had gathered. "Emily," the principal announced proudly, "the city council has decided to honor you with a medal for courage and community service. You are the youngest person in the city's history to receive this award." Emily was speechless. She never imagined her actions would earn such recognition. "Thank you," she said, accepting the beautiful badge from the mayor's hands. "But I want to share this award with everyone who—" Brad supported me along with my students who found the courage to change, with classmates who believed in me, and with teachers who helped me become a better person. Her speech was brief, yet deeply heartfelt. She spoke about how true strength does not come from physical skills, but from the willingness to stand up for truth, assist those who are vulnerable, and never fear being oneself. "Anyone can become a hero," she concluded. "You just need to find the bravery to take the first step." In her final year, Emily became the president of the student council. She used this role to completely eliminate the remnants of a school hierarchy built on power and intimidation. A court of honor was established, an entity that addressed conflicts between students. Instead of punishment, they focused on reconciliation and mutual understanding. Emily explained the system's purpose was not to punish the offender, but to help them realize why their behavior was wrong and encourage personal growth. The method proved effective. The number of serious disputes at school dropped to nearly none. After the ceremony, a journalist from the local newspaper approached her. "Emily, what are your plans moving forward? Many sports organizations are offering professional contracts." Emily replied, "I want to finish school first and then, perhaps, become a coach. I hope to guide children to find their inner strength just like my coach once helped me. I regret not hiding my talents from the beginning." Emily paused to reflect. "You know, I spent a long time trying to be someone else. I thought it would make things easier, but it turned out to be the opposite. When you hide your true self, you are not only deceiving others, you are also fooling yourself. Sooner or later, this causes problems. I believe it is essential to always be honest with yourself. Every person is born with unique talents, skills, and a purpose. Our task is not to conceal these gifts, but to use them for good. Of course, this demands responsibility, but without responsibility, true strength cannot exist." The interview appeared on the front page and quickly spread across the internet. Emily became an inspiration for many teenagers who were afraid to reveal their true abilities. Letters arrived from all over the country. Children shared their struggles, sought advice, and explained how her example gave them the courage to change. One letter touched Emily deeply. It was written by a 14-year-old girl from Texas. "Dear Emily, my name is Maria, and I want to tell you my story. I was always overweight and clumsy. At school, I was constantly teased, and I only cried and ran away. After reading about you, I decided to join karate. The beginning was very hard, but I never gave up. Last week, a miracle happened. When the older boys teased me again, I did not cry. I looked them in the eyes and said, 'Leave me alone.' And you know what? They backed off. Thank you for showing me. Anyone can be strong. Your grateful admirer, Maria." Reading letters like these, Emily realized she had found her true calling. She wanted to help children discover their inner strength and teach them not to fear being themselves. Another 6 months passed. Emily was now in her final year of high school preparing to enter college. She chose psychology as her major with an additional course in sports medicine, aiming to become a sports psychologist working with young athletes. Yet fate had another challenge in store for her. One evening as Emily was walking home after practice, a stranger approached her. She immediately felt danger. He was clearly intoxicated and hostile. "Are you the one who ruined my son?" he demanded harshly. Emily instantly recognized him. Standing before her was the father of Travis Miller, the very bully now serving time in a juvenile detention center. "Mr. Miller," Emily said, stepping cautiously back toward the lit part of the street. Your son is responsible for what happened to him. My son was a good boy until he met your son. He took a step closer, clenching his fists. Emily assessed the situation. The man was large, just under 1 meter 80 tall and over 100 kilograms, but his coordination was impaired by alcohol. Calm down, she said firmly. Leave before I call the police. Police? He laughed. First, I will show you what it feels like to be weak. He lunged at her, attempting to grab her by the shoulders. Emily was prepared for the assault. She dodged his clumsy reach and delivered a quick strike to his solar plexus. The alcohol had taken its toll. The man's coordination was impaired, preventing him from reacting properly. Miller doubled over, gasping for air, then tried once again to attack Emily. This time, she had to take more decisive action. A single precise blow to the jaw sent the man collapsing onto the pavement, losing consciousness immediately. Emily quickly pulled out her phone and called the police. Within minutes, patrol officers and paramedics arrived at the scene. When the police and ambulance got there, Miller was still unconscious. The medical team confirmed a mild concussion but no serious injuries. Self-defense again? Asked the detective, who already knew Emily from a previous case. She replied, He attacked me on the street. I was defending myself. I understand there are witnesses. Emily glanced around. Fortunately, the incident happened near a shop, and the security camera had recorded everything. The surveillance footage captured it all. The case never went to trial. The video clearly showed who was the aggressor. Miller, the elder, was held accountable for assault and threats, while Emily received formal confirmation that her self-defense was justified. However, this event made Emily reflect deeply. She realized that her reputation might attract attention not only from admiring fans, but also from those who might test her strength or seek revenge. Reflecting on past defeats. Mom, she said during dinner that evening, I think we need to have a serious conversation. About what, dear? Her mother asked. About what happened today and what might happen in the future. Emily shared with her mother her thoughts and concerns, explaining that her growing fame could become a problem not only for herself, but also for those close to her. Are you scared? Sarah Harris inquired. No, not scared, but I worry about you, my students, and my classmates. What if next time it's not just one drunk man, but a whole group? Her mother remained silent for a long moment, contemplating her daughter's words. Then she said, You know what, Em? I'm proud of you. Not just because you know how to fight, but because you care about others and take responsibility for their safety. What should I do then? Emily asked. The same thing you have always done, her mother answered. Be yourself. Protect those who need it, and never let fear control your life. The next day at school, everyone was talking about the incident from yesterday. The story spread quickly across town. Everyone knew that Emily had defended herself once again against an attack. Students from different classes approached Emily to offer their support. The local newspaper published an article addressing the issue of school safety, using Emily's experience as an example. Most importantly, the incident did not break her spirit. On the contrary, it strengthened her determination to continue helping other children. The self-defense program expanded to other schools in the district. Emily regularly traveled to conduct workshops and share her knowledge with others. Fellow coaches noticed that, most importantly, the children themselves had transformed. They grew braver, more self-assured, and ready to stand up not only for themselves but also for others. Incidents of bullying at school decreased dramatically. Do you know what your greatest achievement is? Jessica once asked. What is it? You have shown us all that strength and kindness can coexist, that being strong does not mean hurting the vulnerable but protecting them. In the final year, Emily became the student council president. She used her position to completely dismantle the remaining school hierarchy built on violence and intimidation. A court of honor was established, a body that addressed conflicts among students. Instead of punishments, reconciliation and mutual understanding were encouraged. Emily explained that the goal was not to punish the offender, but to help them realize why their behavior was wrong and inspire change. The system was effective. The number of serious disputes at school almost vanished. Graduation day arrived. Emily stood on the auditorium stage, wearing her gown and cap, holding her diploma. She had been the top student not only academically, but also in extracurricular involvement. "Dear graduates," she began her speech, "4 years ago, I entered this school as a scared girl who wanted to be invisible. I thought if I stayed quiet and unnoticed, I could avoid trouble." The audience listened attentively, but life taught her something different. Problems find us on their own. No matter if we hide or not, we always face a choice: to give up or to fight. Emily paused for a moment, scanning the familiar faces in the room. "I chose to fight not because I enjoy conflict, but because there were people beside me who needed protection. And you know what? That decision changed not only their lives, but transformed mine as well." Applause interrupted her speech briefly, yet she kept going. "Today, we all are heading down different paths. Some are off to college, others to jobs, and some will join the military. But remember the most important thing no matter where you find yourself. Be true to who you are. Do not hide your gifts. Do not be afraid to show strength. The world needs individuals prepared to stand up for truth and justice." She lifted her diploma high above her head. "And one more thing. If you ever witness someone being hurt, do not ignore it. Reach out your hand. Become the change you want to see in the world." The room erupted in cheers. Standing applause came not only from her classmates, but from teachers and parents, too. After the ceremony, Brad Thompson approached Emily. Once the school bully, Brad was now planning to study social work at university. "Emily," he said, "I want to thank you again." "For what?" she asked. "For not breaking my nose back then," he grinned. "Though I deserved it, more importantly for showing me a different path. If it had not been for that lesson, I might have become a completely different person. We all make mistakes, Brad. What matters most is learning from them. You know what I think? Maybe nothing happens by chance. Perhaps you arrived at our school exactly when we needed you." Emily pondered his words. Maybe he was right. Perhaps her move to Maplewood was not coincidental. That evening at home, Emily sat in her room sorting through her belongings. Tomorrow she would leave for Chicago to begin university. A new chapter, fresh challenges, and countless possibilities awaited her. Yet, she no longer feared change. 4 years at Lincoln High had taught her the most important lesson. It does not matter where you are or what you face. What truly matters is who you are inside. Her mother peeked into the room. "How are you doing, dear?" she asked. "Good. I'm thinking about the future," Emily replied. "And what do you see?" Her smile was warm. Lots of work, many children needing help, and endless chances to make the world a better place. "I am proud of you." Her mother's voice was full of emotion. "And I am proud to call you my mom. Thank you for always being there for me." They embraced, sharing a hug filled with love and gratitude beyond words. The next morning, half the town showed up to see Emily off. At the station stood her students, classmates, teachers, and simply villagers whose lives she had touched deeply. "Do not forget us," Jessica begged through tears. "How could I ever forget?" Emily answered. "You all will remain in my heart forever." The train moved away as Emily gazed out the window at the city fading into the distance, the place she now called home. Here she found herself and discovered her purpose. Ahead lay a new life, and Emily was ready. At university, she pursued psychology with a specialization in. Emily worked extensively in youth outreach programs while simultaneously coaching the university martial arts team and conducting self-defense classes for female students. Her story is one of a young woman who transformed an entire school and became a legend. Books were written about her and documentaries made, yet for Emily, this was merely the beginning. Following her graduation, she spent several years gaining experience as a psychologist in adolescent centers before founding her own leadership training facility for young people at the age of 26. She started modestly in a small office with a handful of students, but the center quickly expanded. Teenagers from neighboring towns began to attend. Those who had suffered bullying, feared standing up for themselves, or desired to make a positive change in their communities. Emily often told her pupils, "Each of you is destined for something extraordinary. Never let anyone convince you otherwise. Stay true to yourself, fight for justice, and never give up." Over time, her center grew into one of the most respected in the region. Several graduates even returned home to establish similar programs, slowly creating a network of like-minded individuals. Within a few years, Emily gained recognition as an expert in combating school bullying throughout her state. Invitations to speak at conferences, advise school districts, and contribute to educational program development followed. Despite her rising prominence, she always remembered her roots. Every year on the anniversary of her graduation, she traveled back to Maplewood to reconnect and inspire new generations. Emily reconnected with old friends and led workshops for new generations of students. "Do you know what was the most surprising?" said 30-year-old Emily in an interview with a local newspaper. "I believed moving to a small town was the end of the road. Instead, it marked a new beginning. That is where I discovered who I truly wanted to become." As time passed, Emily evolved beyond being just a successful psychologist and coach. In her region, she became a role model for thousands of children, a symbol demonstrating that anyone can transform their life and the lives of those around them by finding the courage to be themselves. In the small town of Iplow, inside the Lincoln High School gym, hung a photo of a slender girl with determined eyes. Beneath the picture was a plaque reading Emily Harris, class of 2013. She taught us that true strength lies in the willingness to protect others. Each new generation of students, seeing that image and hearing the story of how one girl changed the world, understood an essential truth. Anyone can be a hero. All it takes is the bravery to take the first step. The story concluded where it was meant to. Not with loud celebrations, but with a quiet confidence that the world became a little better because one individual found the strength not to hide, but to shine. Yeah,